Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I am your host, Teri Wellbrock. After my 3-month hiatus, this is my first interview back in a while. So I'm actually so very excited to be here with Kareen Aristide. I want to say it in like a French little, and I'm sure she says it much more beautifully than my American accent. So welcome, Kareen.
Thank you. So happy to be here. And it's my first podcast interview back as well from a hiatus. So we both on the same the same flow. So I'm loving it.
Oh my gosh, that's
Thank you
so,
for
I
having me.
just absolutely love it. Our stars are aligning. We were just talking
Big
before.
time.
Yeah, before I hit record that I had to reschedule this a couple times and I just felt so bad, but it's working out perfectly. So right where we're
Yes,
supposed to be.
absolutely. Definitely. Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Yes, amen. So Karen, she is speaker, trainer, consultant, coach, and so much more. So again, welcome. And I know I told you
Thank
before we
you.
hit record, there was a couple things that has stood out to me when I was on your website and reading through so much of the information I had about you. Um, and one of the things was, and we'll go with this one first, the She Did It Women's
Mhm.
Empowerment Program. Can you talk to us about that and how that came to be?
Yeah, so that is a movement, really, that we call it, that I started over 6 years ago now. It was birthed in 2018. My husband and I had our co-working space for parentpreneurs, which we'll talk about in a bit. And I really had a sense that women needed something different to connect together. There's something about us coming together and supporting each other, collaborating. When I first started my entrepreneurial journey, it was women that had been in the game for so long that really were so open to share their experiences, and it gave me courage, to go ahead and make it happen for myself. And so when I realized that, you know what, let's convene and have space where women, that have been entrepreneurs for many years and those that are just starting out, to come together and really share experiences and be inspired and motivated by each other. So that's kind of how She Did It started. It was a way to convene all of these women together. So we were having events, but I also had a podcast. It was sort of like a podcast. I was coming with these women that I've met um, throughout the years to come in and share their stories, really, and explain how they got started and share some wisdom with us. So I did that for about a year. So we have a few of those interviews on my YouTube channel if anybody's interested. And then from there, things kind of evolved in that it became a space to encourage women to not just settle for the status quo, but to realize that if she did it, then I can too, and give them resources and tools to do that. So this is
Wonderful.
how it started, and went through a lot of ups and downs, that experimented different models and things like that. And we're actually in a space of transition right now, where my goal now is to provide resources for legacy building, because I find that especially women that have been entrepreneurs for many years, a lot of them, they had to forge their way, and without necessarily being able to give what all of the wealth that they have. We don't want it to die with them. So having a way to for them to reproduce themselves, and having the younger generation, or those that are have different ways of doing things, to help them reinvent themselves if they want to. or to just share their knowledge and allow this younger generation to build, with solid foundation. So this is kind of what I'm toying with right now, and hoping to set up some circles, really. So rebirthing it as She Did It collectives. That's coming up very soon. So very excited about that.
Yeah, I love the idea of sharing our wisdom, and I'm so about collaboration as well. Love meeting new people, particularly I live on Hilton Head Island, and just meeting up at a coffee shop or
Yes,
something with folks who uh, someone came across my radar in conversation, and then she mentioned someone that she knows that runs retreats. And I was like, oh, I've so always thought about doing a retreat. And she's like, well, let's get together. And so we sat down and had a great, and again,
that's
it's
it.
a wonderful way to share our wisdom, like you said, with one another. So uh, if someone's listening right now and they're like, oh, I'm a female entrepreneur, I would love to be a part of this. Can they join? Do they reach out to you? How do they connect with you?
So the best thing to do right now, since we're in transition, is to get us on our socials. So we do have a free Facebook group that you can join at any time, and you can share anything that is happening with what you're doing with your business, or even if you're just trying to figure things out. It's a great space to just kind of test the waters. So there's no restrictions or when to post, what to post, where to post, all of that. I'm really big on celebration. And so, yeah, so if you have anything that you want to share with us that you're doing, please, make sure that you join. So if you type She Did It, Elle a osé, the French part. So maybe we'll give them some way to
Yes.
click on it.
Yes, I'll put it
But
in
if
show
you,
notes, folks.
I had to differentiate because there was another She Did It on Facebook. So you might come across something else when you if you only type She Did It. But okay, so yeah, so you feel free to join. We also are on all the other socials except for TikTok at this point, but you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. So we'd love to have you join the community, and yeah, just also go to shedidit.ca if you want, and get on our mailing list to get more information on the next step.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, one of the things you mentioned was parentpreneur. And so,
Yes.
yes, talk to us. What is that?
Right. So I kind of came up with this term, which probably somebody else did, because you know what? It's the collective wisdom that's out there. But my definition is definitely a parent that also has a business or is wanting to start a business. And so it really resonated with me because I became an entrepreneur because of my children. So I was a career oriented woman, loved what I was doing. I was in the employment counseling field, and we moved to a new city, and no one would hire me because I was pregnant with my second child. And so I reluctantly became a stay at home mom at that point, and came across this world of women doing their thing. You called, work at home moms. And I was like, oh, I can deal with that. So that's kind of how I kind of stumbled on entrepreneurship and realized that there was something in me that allowed me to do both. So I used to say, have your kids and business too.
Oh, I
And
love that.
so, yeah, and that's kind of where I started just sharing my way, because for me it was the only way for me to be able to thrive as a parent and also thrive as a business owner, or having the ability to express who I really am, number one, and number two, having that flexibility as well to be able to own my time, basically. And that was big because we ended up from two, we went to five kids. And so having 5 children, and being able to create my own path was very, very important for me, but also for them, because my husband and I always believe that children come into this world and we're guides, but they have their own path. And to make sure that we don't transfer our own maybe dreams or aspirations on them, that they come up with their own. And so entrepreneurship, I believe, is one of the best ways to do that. And so some of our children have chosen the entrepreneurship route as well, which is a really amazing thing to me, because when I was growing up, if I had at least, that opportunity to see that this is a path that you can take, it would have made a huge difference for me.
Yes, I just have to tell you, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this in the 7 years the show has been on air. Uh, when I was, gosh, back in the 90s, I was managing an insurance agency. I had been an insurance agent in the industry for 9 years. Um, we had two little ones, a baby and a toddler. I was going to school at night at the University of Cincinnati, getting my degree in psychology. I had gone back because I wanted to study psychology. And I remember telling my then husband, something has got to give. I either need to quit
Mm,
my job, quit school, and I was so close to be graduating, or we have to give our kids up for
mhm.
adoption. I said jokingly, because I wouldn't have done that. But I was like, something like, I
Yeah.
can't do this. I never see the kids. And we were like, he was going to school at night. And so we were like, had the stroller, and I'd meet him in the middle of campus, and he'd take, John, our oldest. And anyway, it was just
Yeah.
crazy. So we made the decision that I would leave my job and stay at home. And interestingly enough, the way, everything happens for a reason, an opportunity came across for my husband at the time to start another company. And he said to me, would you want to do this with me? And we could do
Mm,
this together. And so I ended up staying at home with our kids, but working. I had an office at home,
mm.
and being able to have the startup company, which now has a brick and mortar, and it's really blossomed and grown. And so, yeah, we just
That's
started that
amazing.
company because I was like, I can't do it all.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so that struggle, of um, balancing is definitely, it can take a toll. And so I prefer talking about harmonizing, sort of like, an orchestra where each instrument, has their role to play and put together, it's an amazing harmony. And so I believe that it's important to see life that way. And our children as well, one, they see that this is how you approach life, then there's so much that they don't have to struggle with, when it's their turn.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so. Well, I love so as a coach for parentpreneurs, you coach people, you guide people. I love to think of coaches as guides. I just think that's such a great viewpoint. And so um, you help them in just navigating those roles as both a someone who's operating, is it their own business, or just it could be just working for another company, or both?
Most of the time, it's parents that want to have their own, um, I guess, imprint is what I like to say. So there's nothing wrong with working with a company and, contributing to someone else's vision. But when you do have your own vision and you want to see it come to pass, you might not know what to do, how to get started. Those are the things that excite me the most, to be able to come alongside. I see myself sort of like a midwife, to help birth whatever dream or vision that somebody has. And it's just a beautiful thing to see it come to life. And yeah, so it's more of guiding to put into fruition what it is that is in the invisible. So it's basically manifesting, what we cannot see into something that is seeable.
Oh my gosh, I love the way you painted that. All those words were beautiful. And yes, like just I love watching things come into fruition too. And I want to go back for just a second. You said something very early on about um trying things and watching it metamorphosize and in watching it like, and I think that's so important for people to realize that. I know I've had um some people would call it failures or stumbles or whatever you want to
Mm,
say along the way, as I've tried
yep.
to grow or make things happen. And truly they're not failures so much.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just lessons, right?
That's right. Absolutely. I've had my share of those. I think it's impossible really to truly guide and come alongside someone without those, because then it really becomes sort of like you're coming in and you're telling me what to do, but you've never walked my shoes, or you've never been through something that basically can define you in a way that you never thought possible. And so having those experiences and being able to come alongside somebody with the scars, with the attempts, and just being able to say, I'm still here, I'm still alive, and I'm thriving because of everything that I've been through. And so, and I think that it's really a crucial thing to make sure that people understand that you're not a guru. You're not somebody that knows it all, that's trying to, um, dictate something. No, you're here because you've been through something, you've birthed something yourself, you've had, the contractions, you've had all of those things, and so now it's a question of being able to to know that when the going gets tough, you know that you're going to get through the other side. So being able to be there, it be a living um, picture of what it looks like when you're on the other side is really, really important as a coach. And
Oh,
sometimes what I find difficult is, especially these days, in the coaching culture, that there's a lot of um, appearance, that there's an appearance of something. But when you dig deep a little bit and scratch the surface a little bit, you see that, oh, this was really a mirage, it wasn't the reality. And so it's important to talk about the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. It's not for the faint of heart,
no, no.
And so it's not for the faint of heart. Like all of us, I've had times where we want to quit, where you don't think it's worth it, and sometimes, it's when you're in those valleys that, the greatest breakthrough comes, right? And so having somebody who's gone through that to walk alongside you is really important.
Oh, for sure. And I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing that truth because it really is. And again, I wouldn't want anyone by my side who hadn't been, fallen on their face or tripped up or
Ex-
whatever. Yeah. And I love it that you said scars because yeah, that's such a perfect way. If someone's standing next to me trying to guide me that doesn't have those scars, those battle wounds, um, yeah, because it's almost inevitable that you're going to have a fall
That's it.
or a stumble, and to have them there to I always tell people I love it because I've made it through the darkness into the light, reaching my hand back into that darkness and being able to help people and be like
Yes.
I've been there, I got it. So yeah.
Exactly, absolutely. And it's through my entrepreneurship journey that I was able to discover that, and also discover my ultimate why. Because there was a season back in 2008 when I almost died in a car crash
Mm.
trying to build this business, which was going really well. And but I was burning the candle at both sticks, as they say. And so there was a season where I was so involved in, you know, the business, that the what was happening in my business, that I neglected my self-care, and I was sleep deprived, and I ended up blacking out. Till this day, I'm not sure what happened, but anyway, I blacked out, and basically I crashed into an apartment building.
Oh
So
my goodness.
yes, and so my vehicle basically went into the window of an apartment, basement apartment. Thank God nobody was there, so it was empty, vacant.
Yes.
But I came out of that alive, and even though I should have been happy to be alive, I was actually wishing I had died, because for me it was just like, you know, if I had died, then, my family would have been taken care of, and, I wouldn't have to kill myself trying to build this business. That was the mentality that I had at the time. And that's how I discovered the importance of soul care, the importance of understanding what's really going on within you, the aspect of being before doing. And that's a big part of my coaching, is that, because a lot of the times either people live according to what I call plagiarism. So they see what other people are doing, or they're trying to live up to a dream of a parent or a teacher, I don't know who, but it's not really coming from them, from who they are, from who they are meant to be. And so that experience taught me a lot about the importance of knowing who you are, and from that place then producing or doing things that really um, connect to your purpose and destiny. Because making money is all well and good, but many people that have made it to making millions and even billions will say that I had all this, but there was always a need for more. There was never that the satisfaction really that came from seeking or pursuing the material. And so, and that kind of got me into human behavior and mental health. I could talk a lot more about this, but it took me a while after that to realize that, okay, this is really my call, because I kind of fell I fell into the overachiever, superwoman syndrome, savior complex many times over, before I came to realize that, okay, you're going through all of this, or you went through all of this, not just for yourself, but for others. And so, as in 2015, I actually went back and started my degree in psychology, which I finished because I did it part time, very part time, and finished in 2020. And I'm still in the process of going further into um, being able to be a voice when it comes to knowing who you are, and being empowered with your mental health. Because a lot of the times um, people have a lot of confusion when it comes to mental health. A lot of people mistake mental health and mental illness still. And so because of everything that I went through my entrepreneurship journey mostly, I realized that um, there's a space for me there.
Yes. Well, again, well, congratulations on, well, all of it, but yeah, going back, getting your degree and learning that lesson. And I tell folks, I have my job that pays my bills, but it's my soul work. That's this podcast and writing and speaking and all of the things that I do in this healing place podcast world. That's my soul work. And yeah, it is. It's so fulfilling beyond monetization. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
so I think there's definitely room for people to make space for that, make space for um, discovering that. Because many times, well, this society is built so that you go, 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 right? And so people often wait till they crash, like I did, before they actually, stop and really reevaluate, and sometimes it requires reinventing yourself. And so I want to say, do not be afraid of reinventing yourself. And really taking the time to pause and to decide who you want to be in this world, because um, it's never going to be enough if you're focused on accumulating things and doing this and doing that and being who everybody else thinks you're supposed to be. It's never going to be enough, and the only way that it can become enough is for you to truly live from the inside out. And that is where your contribution to the world is actually going to uh, be meaningful. And so your relationships will change, everything will change, and you will be so much better, not only in a sense of, the well-being that we all want, that we all desire, but that well-being is actually going to have a ripple effect, to really transform a community, maybe even a country. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I could sit here and learn from you. I mean, I could say talk to you, but learn from you for hours. But I certainly wanted to give you an opportunity to leave people with some final thoughts or share something that we haven't touched upon yet, before we close out.
Yeah, so definitely my biggest desire is for people to choose themselves. That's the biggest thing that I strive to make sure that people understand the importance of choosing yourself. Because when you choose yourself, then you're able to truly be a catalyst, to be a world changer and a history maker, like I like to say. And so I invite you to get on that journey. And if you need a little help when it comes to getting to that next best version of yourself, I do have a book that I wrote called Dare to Rise. And so you'll find it on Amazon. There's also an audio version for anybody that doesn't like to read. That's okay. I narrated it as well. And it's a very simple book. It's 21 reflections that you could do one a day. So you can work on yourself 5 to 10 minutes a day. So if you've never done this before, this is a great way to get started. And if you're well versed in personal development, then I think you might have a few nuggets that you'll get out of it, I hope. And so I'd love to hear from you if ever you decide to download the book. And I'm hoping that my story as well. I share a little bit of my story in the book as well, will inspire you and motivate you to choose yourself and to be who the world is craving for you to be.
Yay. I love it. I love it. Well, one last thing, how do people connect with you? We talked a little bit at the beginning, but just remind them here at the end.
Yes, so I'm on all socials. So Kareen Aristide, just type in Kareen Aristide in Google, you'll find me as well. But I do have a website as well, kareenaristide.com. And so you can get all the information on there. And yeah, please send me a little message. Let me know you listen to the podcast. Thank you so much, Teri, for having me. It's been a wonderful experience. You're such a beautiful being.
Oh,
And
thank
so
you.
thank you for continuing the work that you do. And I'm looking forward to spreading it out there.
Awesome, awesome. Well, and I should have asked you beforehand. I asked how to say your last name. So I love how you pronounce Kareen. And I said Karen, very American of me, but Kareen
That's
Aristide.
okay.
Kareen Aristide. I may put that at the front. So well, it has just been such a joy to have you here. And again, I've learned
Thank
so much.
you.
And thank you for your beautiful work and shining your beautiful light as well.
Such a pleasure. Thank you so much again, Teri.
Awesome. All
Bye,
right. Well,
everyone.
everyone, thank you for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock here. Just wanted to thank you again for being a part of this healing space and my hashtag Hope for Healing journey. Thank you for sharing, liking, inviting others to join, listening in. You've really helped this show blossom. It has now been downloaded in 136 countries and is in the top 2% globally out of 3.2 million shows, which is just amazing. And it's all because of you and your tuning in and inviting others and sharing and liking and loving. And your reviews on Apple really help too. My goal is to hit 100 5-star reviews by the end of the year. And I am closing in on that. So if you are listening in on Apple or Apple Podcasts, please go and rate the show and leave a review if you absolutely love it. And I would be most appreciative. Also, if you would like to receive my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, please be sure to go to teriwellbrock.com. It's TERI, just one R, WELLBROCK.com. And I have a gift to send you for signing up for that monthly Hope for Healing newsletter. Plus, there are many other resources listed on that page, including a resource library. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.